So then there's the fact that we're expected to live and succeed in our chosen gender roles without any medical assistance from hormones or whatever for at least a year. I mean, do you have any idea how difficult that is? Yes, I've heard the argument, probably more so for male to female transsexuals, but it's still difficult for the trans guys as well. And then, I mean, we have the issues of binding and voice and all that to contend with that give us away as not being genetically male. And there's a whole lot of other things that I won't go into right now. And the discrimination that I've personally encountered from at least one hospital here in Perth on the basis of being trans is just criminal. Even my doctor told me, don't go to this particular hospital if you have an emergency or anything, because you will not be treated well. And I can say that I went in there, basically it was to do with depression. I went in there feeling like crap, came out of there after 2 days feeling even more like crap because they triggered my dysphoria, something wicked, by refusing to use male pronouns and what have you, purely on the basis that I was pre-T and I had not at that stage legally changed my name. They were quite happy to use my name and call me Daniel, but they insisted on female pronouns and calling me female things like Miss, which, yeah, didn't do wonders for my head. Anyway, wow, that's turned into a bit of a rant. But it's the truth. I mean, transsexuals here at least are treated like second-class citizens and something less than human beings by the system and by a lot of the medical professionals here, and it's wrong and something should be done about it. I also want to briefly touch on the issue of certain groups of people within the trans community that I have seen who have a kind of trans-Nazi approach to gender. That is, that their view is that if you have not had hormones and surgery, you are not really a man, and if you don't intend to have these things, then you're definitely not a man. I've encountered this view in a few groups, and I have to say it disgusts me. As far as I am concerned, nobody has the right to tell anyone else that they are more or less of a man or woman or whatever gender they claim than that person because of whatever medical interventions they have or haven't had. For some guys, for example, T might be enough to make them feel comfortable with who they are, and for others of us, we need further interventions like surgeries in order to be comfortable. So, you know, it should not be judged on what procedures you have or haven't had. And for me personally, I really object to hearing someone who identifies as a trans man being told that they are basically not a real man because they put trans in front of the word man. I mean, hello, even the men who've had the full works of intervention had to be pre-T and pre-surgery at some point and should bloody well get off their high horse and stop judging others for where they're at. I find it particularly scary that this attitude is prevalent within one particular group I'm aware of that calls itself a support group and claims to be the largest group of its kind for, and I quote, males suffering from transsexualism. I'll save the whole side story about that and divisions and factions and subgroups within the trans community for another video. But to my mind, it's no wonder that we as a community find it hard to be taken seriously when there is so much friggin' nitpicking about who is and isn't really a man or a woman just because of what procedures they have or haven't had done. I mean, it's a respect thing. If you want to identify yourself as having Harry Benjamin syndrome, fine, I'll respect that and I'll say that's what you have. If you want to say you're a man, okay, cool, I'll call you that too. If you're okay with trans man, great, I'll use that. But I expect you to acknowledge my masculinity and respect the fact that while I'm cool with using the label trans man, I am a man first and foremost, and I will not stand for being told that I am not a man because I'm okay with using trans man to describe myself or because I'm only fairly newly on T or whatever. I mean, it comes down also to the fact that different labels mean different things to different people. And for me personally, trans man is about transcending gender more than anything else. I am a man, but I have a history of female socialisation and learned female behaviours and perspectives, so I'm never going to be identical to a genetic male from that perspective who's been raised and socialised as a male, and frankly I don't give a toss about idiots who tell me that this difference means I can't possibly be male. Personally, I think I have an advantage over genetic males in that respect anyway, because parts of my female history means that I can genuinely sit both sides of the fence on some issues and have a much broader perspective that I wouldn't have had if I didn't have this particular gender history and if I'd been born with the correct body for my gender. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment, or I'll have to split this into parts, and to be quite honest, I'm too lazy to do that right now. So, take care, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.